Hi, everybody. This is Carrie Hamblen, the CEO and President of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, coming to you again with another Zoom chat through the Las Cruces Green Chamber. This is something that we do on a regular basis with our members, and I am so excited to have with us today because, John, you have been like a mainstay of Las Cruces. We lost you for a little bit, and now you're back as the Customer Sales and Engagement Director for WNM Communications. It is so lovely to see your face, and I've gotten to see you in person too. So it's so lovely to see you here today.
Thank you, Carrie. It's great to be here with you and back home. I love being back in Las Cruces. We never left. We had our home here. We had a place in Santa Fe, but it just wasn't the same. And now I'm here. I think I've gained like 5 or 6 pounds just visiting Roberto's every day, but it's good to be back home.
It is, and you know, and for many of you, if you may know, John used to be your title was CEO, right, of Sitel? Was that your title?
Yeah, we had a large group here in Las Cruces, and I had a group in Albuquerque as well. We were in Las Cruces for a little over 10 years. And so when we got new owners, obviously that changed the footprint. But absolutely wonderful family. I keep in touch with my employees or teammates, and I've seen them move on to other things, and they're doing a great job here in the community.
You were always a great cheerleader for your staff, and that was and I know that that's happening now because before we even started recording, you were talking about how like WNM Communications is growing. And so, you know, in our Zoom chat, I mean, this one's really kind of an introductory Zoom chat because we're going to have a couple more where we're able to talk about some of your projects. But tell folks about WNM Communications, because your story that you shared with me prior to us starting to record is really just kind of like just the fabric of New Mexico. It's what people in New Mexico do.
Right. You know, very few companies can say they were born in New Mexico, and WNM Communications was born in New Mexico, in southern and western New Mexico, by New Mexicans, and they wanted to provide services, telephone services, initially with the small telephone company for people who didn't have it. So Grandma Martinez wanted to communicate with Grandma Jones and the rest of the world, and there was no infrastructure. And so the King family bought and put together a small telephone company and started growing that company. Now we've expanded to where we're doing fiber optics, broadband services, you know, the latest technology. Again, all New Mexicans. It's a Mexican company serving New Mexicans. We aren't from, we're not in California or somewhere else overseas. We're right here. You see the employees at the parks, at the stores, at the restaurants, and so we're happy to provide connectivity to places, just like with our mission, how it started, to folks who haven't had that access before.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, we've seen during the pandemic how important that is, and how really internet access or connectivity or broadband, however you want to frame it, is a basic utility that everybody has a right to. And that's what's so critical.
Absolutely. Yes. No, absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely correct. And I applaud you, Senator Hamblen, for the legislation that you pushed through, worked with the House of Representatives, with the Senate, with Senator Michael Padilla. There were some of your initiatives passed through, others are pending, and I know you're going to bring them up, and you're going to fight for Southern New Mexico, so that we have that connectivity, so that if there are still some Grandma Martinez's out there or Grandma Jones who need to connect to their grandchildren, to other businesses, we'll make that happen with some of these new initiatives that are now in play. But definitely, we saw that people were at home, they were learning from home, they were doing telemedicine from home, they were working from home, they were just trying to connect when we were sheltered in. So absolutely important.
Well, and also, you know, just the rural communities, and when we talk about it from a business perspective, this is going to be more in demand because business as usual is not going to be business as usual anymore. It's going to be a different creature. And that means more e-commerce, more internet sales. And so, and I didn't know, I don't think you got the job until after the legislative session, or at least after I was done in the legislative session. And so, so the broadband that, some of the broadband legislation that passed, and something that's really concerning to me is all the rural communities, because we've got a lot of folks who are doing home businesses and they need internet, and they need good internet to do it. And so I'm very excited. So when you told me, hey, I've got a new gig, I'm back in town, and this is what we're doing, I was so excited, because it really kind of brings those worlds for me together, but also really addresses a need that we have in our state. And so with this, I mean, you've got some projects kind of on the burner that we're not going to talk about, and then you've got some other ones that you're very excited about. Can you kind of share some of those with us?
Sure, sure. So we're in the process of growing our network, and so the City of Deming, the businesses there, residents, other agencies are very receptive to WNM because we are local. We have a presence there, and we can provide broadband services, telephone services at a reasonable rate, right? And so our plan is to grow from Deming and grow Las Cruces onto Mesilla and the rest of southern New Mexico. But one of the things, again, I want to stress, from a business perspective, I think businesses need this. I think homes need this. As I'm traveling throughout southern New Mexico, I'm hearing just stories of parents whose kids, they could not complete homework. They couldn't make good connections. They had to try to find somewhere, some hotspot, some Wi-Fi that would help them out. Some of the school districts, unfortunately, had to send out their homework and their information over mail, U.S. mail, right? That's, and can you imagine how difficult it was for teachers, for administrators, for parents, for grandparents, and then to have to do it through slow mail. It was difficult. The other piece that I'm very proud of WNM is that when we're doing our laying our new fiber optic, we use a new technology called micro trenching, so we really don't disturb the earth very much. New Mexico has beautiful topography, beautiful vistas, and we want to keep it that way, right? And so we do some of that. Not only is it modern technology, but also modern methods of doing that. In addition to that, as we work through that, our customer service folks know where Reserve is, where Magdalena is, where Lordsburg is, where Deming is, where Missy. They know New Mexico because they're New Mexicans, and they take the time to also provide some education. We notice just hearing stories. There are some grandparents raising students, and it's like, well, what is this thing? What's this tablet thing, and how does it work, and how so there's so many things that we have in store, and I'd love to take 2 or 3 hours to talk to you. I know we don't have that time, but I'm very grateful for this opportunity and grateful to be with the WNM team and work with such great employees who are New Mexican, and they know the only debate that we have is it red or is it green, and we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and this is the thing that's so fantastic, not only for WNM Communications, but really for reaching out, and just it's the pandemic and all of the horrible things of the pandemic that happened. We still have some opportunities to say, and for many of us, it's like this is something that's been an issue for years. So welcome to the party. Glad you're on board now. Is that you're working really hard to get WNM Communications out into communities and get people to know what you're doing and know what the services are that you provide, and also just the trust of that it's a New Mexico-based company and that it was started by 2 people who just wanted to connect each other. And so it's what a lovely value for a business.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then obviously, as New Mexico Ingenuity holds it, there were some things that limited resources, some things that the company initially had to do to connect, and definitely we're putting that history together just to let people know what our story is, how we started with a very small company. When you're talking about duct tape and hailing wire and things like that, initially it was not so far off. working with some of the ranchers and farmers to use some of their barbed wire poles some time ago. Obviously that's changed quite a bit now. We've modernized, but again, most companies were not there in southern or western New Mexico, and we were there, and we wanted to connect people, and that's what we're going to continue to do, connect people.
Well, and I do apologize that I'm apparently having a little bit of a slow network. So if we're, all the reasons we all need to
Talk
have
about service after the call.
Exactly. I know. So, John, it is so lovely to talk with you, and thank you so much for being a part of the Zoom chat. And I can't wait to continue to get more information out about what WNM Communications is doing especially for our rural communities, and also just to be able to help tell your story of just this wonderful, locally owned, New Mexico-based business that started with incredible values and just hardworking folks.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. All right, John, thank you so much. And if you, as a member of the Green Chamber, would like to do a Zoom chat when I have better internet connection, for some reason my network is a little slow today, but if you'd like to do this, you're welcome to contact me in the chat, or you can private message us here on the Green Chamber page, and I'll be more than happy to schedule up a Zoom chat with you. John, it's lovely to see your face. Safe travels this weekend, and enjoy that number 9 sandwich, that banh mi sandwich, and we'll talk with you again soon. All right. Bye, John.